Well, let's get some clarity on the situation. We're joined by Phindiwe Gwebu, spokesperson for the Civil Aviation Authority. Phindiwe, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So the CEO addressing staff today saying hopefully they'll be back in the skies tomorrow. How likely is that?
I'm not sure where he would have gotten that idea. What I can confirm is that there's definitely progress in the work that the CAA is doing together with the airline. There has been a meeting of the minds in terms of understanding what the CAA requires. And at this point, we're really in that stage where we are exchanging, where we are receiving documents from Comair, and we are in the process of evaluating that. We've received documents from them essentially since the grounding actually took place. And I can confirm that there's also been several meetings between us and the airline where they were seeking clarity in terms of what our expectations are and also how quickly they can meet those expectations. So I can confirm that from that point of view, there is progress, and we are definitely moving closer. But whether the uplifting will be done by the director today or tomorrow is really something that we have left to the teams, because at this stage we do want to give the teams time to concentrate on what they are doing without putting undue pressure, because the work that they are doing is quite important, and it's important that they remain focused and without undue pressure.
Yeah. So you say you're still receiving documents. Does that mean that you're still awaiting more information about whether or not this airline is safe to fly? The agreement that we reached with the airline in our meeting yesterday was to the effect that as we evaluate the evidence for each of the findings, we will get back to them after each finding, so that we don't wait for us to evaluate the whole set of documents and then give them feedback in terms of what is the outcome. So based on that agreement that we had with them yesterday, that's exactly what is happening. The teams met, I think, until 4 a.m. in the morning, where they were taking, the CAA inspectors were taking the Comair through exactly what it is, where the gaps are in their information. And as a result of that, Comair has come back to CAA now, closing those gaps in relation to that one finding. In relation to the second finding, the CAA team had to wake up, unfortunately, at 10 o'clock just to start evaluating the evidence for the second finding. And in that regard, they are going to give feedback, in fact, now at 6 o'clock to Comair. And that would be then followed by them evaluating the outstanding information that was submitted up until now by Comair. So as you can see, it's a back and forth process where the two teams are basically trying their level best to close the findings. Yeah, and I'm sure you're working through this, you say up until 4 a.m., because it has to be a fast process because there are thousands of passengers affected by this, but it has to be a safe decision. Is there any time frame that you've given yourself to actually come to a conclusion as to whether or not Comair is safe to fly? By Thursday, Friday? Can you give me that information?
For as long, we have a duty as the CAA to welcome additional information for as long as the airline says that we do have that information. At the point where they admit that that information is not there and they are not able to rectify it now.
All right. We've lost the connection there to Phindiwe, but we cannot let that interview go. So I'm going to ask our team to actually try to re-establish the connection so that we can go back to Phindiwe after the break.
We can't even blame load shedding this time.
No, we can't.
However, there are a lot of storms in Johannesburg today.
Oh, she's back apparently. Phindiwe, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I was not aware I'm off air.
Yeah,
I was just explaining.
Go ahead.
I was simply explaining that based on the cooperation that we're receiving as the CAA from the airline, and also the commitment to reach finality on this matter, I can say that from both sides, the intention is to close this, is to make sure that the findings are closed as soon as possible. It's unfortunate I can't give you an exact timeline to say that by tonight or tomorrow morning, but what I can say is that
obviously the operator will have to be the first to know if at all they have met all the expectations from the regulator.
All right, very quickly, can you tell me if Comair cut any corners when it came to saving on costs regarding the safety measures they have for their planes and the inspections? Because that's one of the concerns being raised by workers.
I really can't comment on that, because when the CAA goes into an operator, we normally look at whether they implement the approved manuals that was approved by the regulator properly or not. If at all there are any indications that the corners are cut, I think from our side it will show in the way that, in the deficiencies that become apparent in them implementing those manuals in the process of carrying out their business. So at this point, I really don't have any positive proof that they are cutting corners because of finances. All I know is that the findings that we have picked up show deficiencies in the system, and those are the deficiencies that we are hoping that can be resolved in the current process that is unfolding.
I have so much more to ask you. I'm going to try and get you on tomorrow again. Thank you so much for your time, Phindiwe Gwebu, spokesperson for the South African Civil Aviation Authority.